All right, thank you very much. Have you looked at the headlines over the past few days? There have been a lot of Twitter mishaps or offensive things posted on Twitter that have gotten some people in trouble.
Yeah, we have EMTs who put racist Twitter and racist things on their Twitter account. You
have athletes getting in trouble all the time, and perhaps the most famous Twitter scandal, if it can be called a scandal, is the whole Anthony Weiner, former congressman.
Yeah.
You remember all the trouble he got himself into. But lately, with these city employees tweeting things they're not supposed to be tweeting, Mayor Bloomberg weighed in yesterday.
Write down, number one, only things you believe, and number two, then think about how it would look if somebody else sees it.
It really is so simple that it's kind of shocking that people don't understand that this stuff is going to come back to haunt them. So we brought in social media expert Chris Dessi to kind of talk about this. I mean, there's no way that people can think this is anonymous.
No, not at all. But here's the thing. We're seeing people fall prey to how beautifully designed Twitter is, frankly. It's that it's a frictionless act. People don't realize the repercussions. They feel as if they're text messaging. It's short bursts of information. And if you look at these stories, as these scandals were breaking, people were having conversations and making some borderline racial slurs and some really aggressive commentary where you could tell that if you were to sit them down in a room, they felt as if they were having a conversation around a bar and leaning in, whispering to each other.
Arguably, Twitter has served a real purpose there. I mean, with this guy, we might not have found out what a racist he was.
Exactly.
So I'm not sure, like, if Twitter is at fault here and we want to warn you, like, because he had these feelings.
No.
They would have perhaps come out, or maybe they were coming out in another way. But then you have the guys who are accidentally tweeting stuff.
Hey, listen, frankly, I like it because this is calling out all the goofballs and all the people that don't realize these things. And these people, obviously, they feel this way, and that's why they're putting out in the world. They don't understand the power of the technology, but listen, we're now expeditiously able to say, you're the one that wrote this. We know that we have it here. You're gone, buddy. We don't want to be associated with you.
But Chris, maybe he thought he was just tweeting to his friends. I mean, is there a way to keep it private and not...
There are ways to keep it private. You can lock your Twitter profile. However, what people don't realize is that anybody on Twitter can see anything that's happening.
And one of your friends can repost it, and then whatever you thought was sacred is now out there.
And people think that Facebook is safe, but the reality is that there are studies that show that about 21% of people that are on Facebook are actually friends with their bosses. So there are guidelines, like yeah.
This is another one here. You see Commissioner Cassano, friend of Good Day New York, has been on this show. His son, though, an EMT, I believe, or an EMS worker, posted some really heinous, racist things, and he's out of a job. He apologized.
Wound up, resigning.
But I mean, listen. Here's the thing. Again, frankly, he should be out of a job, right? And he did apologize, and I understand that he's, asking for, mea culpa. I'm so sorry that I did these things. But these were pretty aggressive tweets. I mean, if you look at the content, it's pretty hardcore content. And maybe you say, listen, this person had poor judgment. Maybe they shouldn't be in that job. Maybe they shouldn't be in that role. So.
Well, even Bill de Blasio, who's running for mayor, one of his aides posted some questionable things on Twitter. At this point, it doesn't look like Bill de Blasio is phased at all that the aide did that. In fact, is kind of, supporting the person.
It simply urged her to stay off social media. But yeah, what is the guidelines for employers here?
First start with having guidelines, right? First start with addressing the content. First start with saying, listen, it's not acceptable to write this, that, and such, and have an open dialogue and conversation about it. When people aren't talking about it and they're not addressing it, especially in a corporation, this is when things become unwieldy, because then if they say something that perhaps the boss deems inappropriate, the employee might say, well, you never told me that this would be an issue.
But even if it's your own personal account, you're not doing it on behalf of the company?
Even if it's your own personal account, because listen, it's a 24/7 world that we live in. You represent the company. You're diluting that company's brand equity if you are spewing racial slurs within their different platforms. Because listen, the reality is, especially with these cases we're talking about here, they're using computers and telephones that were issued by the employer, right? Like, there's very clear guidelines here. You do that and it's inappropriate, you're gone. We have the right to fire you if we don't like the look on your face, especially if you're going to be spewing these bits of content.
That's the de Blasio aide.
Yeah, rough one.
But she's still working. They cautioned her. She said something like, F the police, things to that effect.
Again, it was, you know, it's one of those things too. I say that people get they get Twitter muscles instead of beer muscles. They feel like they're alone and nobody's listening to it.
Sometimes you get both.
Listening. Yeah, exactly. A little bit of cocktail and then they start tweeting.
Now you have a big summit or a convention coming up
Oh my gosh.
in our area?
We're thrilled, and this is kind of the power of social media, right? I felt like there was a need to have a Westchester Digital Summit. I was looking for something. I said, where's the Westchester Digital Summit? I went to GoDaddy. I typed in the URL, Westchester Digital Summit. Boom. Now I'm producing the Westchester Digital Summit on May 14th at the Convention Center up in White Plains. We have Gary Vaynerchuk is keynoting it. We have executives from Facebook, from IBM, from Ogilvy, from Publishers Clearinghouse. Really thrilled. Exciting thing. It's going to be fantastic.
Sounds cool.
Do you have to buy tickets and stuff?
You have to buy tickets. Students have a reduced rate. You can get group rates. You could buy a booth. You could display there. But it's a great place to learn about the stuff that I come on and I talk about from the experts, right? We're going to have a keynote from Brandon Steiner of Steiner Sports right here in New Rochelle.
So here's the deal. Rosanna has never tweeted anything that's not wholesome or good or positive.
I haven't?
Come on.
No, she really keeps it.
No,
She keeps it positive.
But I have inadvertently tweeted something that I thought was going to a friend.
Right.
I'm telling you, Rosanna, be careful.
Wasn't anything.
Come to Westchester Digital Summit and learn all about it and learn how to use it.
She's tweeted 600 times already today.
Just today, just this morning. She got excited. The social media guy comes on and we tweet back and forth. That's what happens.
Chris,
you know?
actually, you didn't tweet me this
Oh,
morning.
come
What's
on.
going on?
The second we get off, I'll tweet.
One thing about, okay, all right. Well, Chris, we'll have more questions for you. Good luck with your event in May.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.